Did I say the other day that the book of Esther contains irony? Today's reading includes the first part of a brutally ironic turn of events. Haman builds a gallows to hang Mordecai. Later in the story, it will be put to a very different use. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, September 23rd, 2022. In yesterday's part of the story, Mordecai finds out that Haman has hatched a plan to destroy all of the Jews living within the Persian Empire. He managed to convince his niece, Queen Esther, to appeal to the king, Ahasuerus, to put an end to Haman's plan. He even convinces her, even though approaching the king without an invitation puts her at risk of a death sentence for breaking a royal decree. He says, "Who knows? Perhaps you've come to royal dignity for such a time as this." With the ball now in Esther's court, she cooks up a plan. She invites the king and Haman to a banquet she has prepared for the two of them. When they arrive, the king asks her, "What is your petition? It shall be granted. And what is your request? Even to the half of my kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." But instead of laying out her request now, she invites the two of them to another banquet the very next day, when she will make her formal request. Following the first banquet, a self-satisfied, self-assured Haman returns home to celebrate his exalted position. But on his way, he sees Mordecai yet again, and his anger against him is redoubled. In a masterful piece of writing, the author of the book of Esther writes, "Haman went out that day happy and in good spirits. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate and observed that he neither rose nor trembled before him, he was infuriated with Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home." The description of Haman is truly comical, a caricature, really. He's piqued that Mordecai continues to refuse to pay him the respect he believes he deserves. And now he sets out to decide how to handle this latest show of perceived disrespect. He calls his family together, and then the writer describes the scene and what Haman says with his prose dripping with sarcasm. "Then he sent and called for his friends and his wife Zeresh, and Haman recounted to them the splendor of his riches, the number of his sons, all the promotions with which the king had honored him, and how he had advanced him above the officials and the ministers of the king. Haman added, 'Even Queen Esther let no one but myself come with the king to the banquet that she prepared. Tomorrow also I am invited by her together with the king. Yet all of this does me no good, so long as I see the Jew Mordecai sitting at the king's gate.'" Vain, fragile, not so much self-assured as needing recognition from others for his status. A person like that can be truly dangerous, but also deeply foolish. Haman is such a man. He takes pains to remind his wife and family how very, very important he is. He's rich. He has sons. The king has given him many honors, and now the queen has honored him by inviting him to a banquet for just him and the king. With an ego like that, you just know what a weak and insecure little man hides behind this bluster. And the proof of his fragility is his overreaction to Mordecai. But it's what comes next that sets up the irony. The writer says, "Then his wife Zeresh and all his friends said to him, 'Let a gallows 50 cubits high be made, and in the morning tell the king to have Mordecai hanged on it. Then go with the king to the banquet in good spirits.' This advice pleased Haman, and he had the gallows made." That's the answer, surely. Hang Mordecai. It's not enough that he will die in the pogrom against the Jews. Now Haman feels that he needs to publicly humiliate and execute Mordecai. It's not enough just to hang him, though. It has to be on a comically large gallows. 50 cubits is roughly 75 feet. That's huge, comically huge, cartoon huge. Huge enough to puff up a fragile ego like Haman's. Now, before the writer of Esther brings the full irony of this scene, he has one more scene with yet another piece of irony built in. And that's where we'll pick up tomorrow. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.